Hi there, and welcome to another interview. Today I've got the fabulous Audra with me, and I'm really super excited because, as people that have seen me before might know, my coronary artery calcium scan was 639, and I haven't had a retest yet. But Audra's got a fabulous story about that, and we're also going to talk about her carnivore journey as well. So anyway, hi Audra.
Hi, Stephen. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. And I genuinely am very excited to get straight to the nitty gritty about the coronary artery calcium scan, which, for those that don't know, is a really good indicator of what your coronary arteries, your arteries around your heart, whether they're clogged up with calcium or whether they're clean as a whistle. So, Audra, could you just tell us a little bit about your story?
So back in 2014, a family member of mine was diagnosed with a blocked artery and had to have a stent at a young age. And my father had actually had open heart surgery in his life at a young age. And so it kind of concerned me. So I went to my doctor and said, hey, can I get this CAC score? Because as a preventative, I kind of want to know what's going on. They said, sure, no problem. So they sent me, had the score. At the time, it was 265.8. They said, hey, we'll keep an eye on this. We might need to go down the road of a statin. At the time, between 200 and 400 was considered moderate calcification. So like I said, that was in 2014. I think the numbers have changed a little bit now. But anyway, so I had that done 10 years ago. And here recently, since the CAC score seems to be a big to-do in the carnivore world, and it was brought up, and I thought, hey, you know what? I might ought to get that checked again just to see what's going on. I had a baseline 10 years ago, and here we are. So I said something to my provider recently at an annual checkup, and they said, sure. So they ordered one, and in the United States, insurance does not pay for it. Mine was like $99, and I had it done, and my score is now a 16.
Wow, 16. You see, now, one of the things that happens, there is a lot of people out there don't believe that you can reverse it. Certainly, they don't believe that that is going to be proven with data, but you've got that. So that's brilliant. I can't believe that there's so many people who deny this happens when you can just click and you will find stories, but you're possibly the most credible one that I've come across. Obviously, I'm going to do it for myself, but I just want people to realize that if you have a CAC score, they expect the normal range is for you to grow by about, to have a score that goes up by 20% per annum. So even just slowing the progression down can be really good. So if you had a score of 100, 5 years later, it would be 247 if you compound up by the 20%. So going from 260 down to 16 is incredible. But I'm glad that you did that, and we can share that with people because it gives so many people hope that this way of eating is the best way to go. But we've got that out of the way. We might come back to it, but I'm really interested in your whole story, to be honest, because I know you've been 2.5 years carnivore, but there's a lot more to talk about. So how would you say your journey to good nutrition started?
Well, of course, like a lot of people, I was very, very sugar addicted. Been on every diet known to man, you name it, Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, whatever the diet was, whatever the latest, greatest was for the moment, I tried it. And basically every time, I lost weight, I did good. I was able to lose weight, but the problem was I couldn't keep the weight off because every time I would lose the weight, I would think, oh, yes, weight loss, it's great. I feel better, smaller clothes, less weight. And then I would go back to my old habits, which was sugar. I was very, very highly addicted to sugar. I've had sugar my whole life. As a child, we were rewarded with sugar, cupcakes, candy, ice cream, potato chips. Growing up, we didn't realize how addicting sugar is. And it's even more addicting now. And it's in everything. So basically, like I said, I would lose weight. And then I would go back to my old habits, which would be eating sugar, eating sweets. The more sugar you eat, the more sugar you crave, the more addicted you become. And I started watching YouTube. I started looking at some people's websites and YouTube channels on carnivore. And I thought, wow, these people have no sugar cravings. Is this even possible? So I played with it from January to September of 2021. And honestly, I fell off the wagon a lot of times because I would do really good during the week and I'd do really bad on the weekends. And then you had to start that cycle over again, getting the sugar out of your body again. Finally, in September of 2021, I just decided, hey, I have got to stay on board with this. I've got to stop this vicious cycle. I've got to stop the sugar cravings. So, like I said, it was tough. It was really tough. It's hard. It's a mental thing. You don't realize the grip that sugar has on you until you try to give it up. When you try to give it up, that's when you realize how addicted you are.
Now, there'll be a few people that listen to your list there and go, she says sugar, but she mentioned potato crisps. Are they sugar?
Yes, definitely. Bread, chips, anything that's got carbs in it turns to sugar, basically. And like I said, I even had weight loss surgery. I did really well from the weight loss surgery. However, there again, I found my way back to my drug of choice, which was sugar. I've never done drugs. I don't drink. I've never smoked. So I have no other addiction other than sugar addiction. And, for the longest time, I didn't realize that was an addiction. I thought an addiction meant drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, things of that nature, never sugar. But yeah, sugar is the huge culprit of addiction. And even people who think, well, I don't care for dessert that much, or I don't eat cookies. Well, but do you eat a lot of carbs? Do you eat a lot of bread? Do you eat a lot of chips? Do you eat pasta? All of those things turn to sugar in your body. So you don't even realize you may not be addicted to straight up sugar, but those are sugar items.
Absolutely. I mean, in the UK, I'm not sure about the States, sugar addiction is not recognised. In fact, food addiction is not recognised as a medical condition in any way, shape or form. All the other ones are, like say alcohol and drugs and smoking, but not sugar addiction. And it's crazy because it is abundant. There are so many people out there that don't even know that they actually have an addiction, and yet they can't keep away from the sugar. And I think that's the power of the sugar industry, but I'm not going to get all political because I don't want to do that. You had weight loss surgery. What was that? Was that liposuction?
No, actually, I had the sleeve. So I do not have any kind of bypass. So basically, I just had a sleeve gastrectomy. And so if I actually eat 1,000 calories a day, then I absorb 1,000 calories. Where someone who had weight loss surgery who basically had part of their intestines removed and has a bypass, if they eat 1,000 calories a day, they only absorb about 700. But like I said, I found even after that, let me put this in, when I had the CAC score in 2014, I was actually a year and 9 months into my weight loss surgery then. I had lost weight, but I had not changed my eating habits. I was still eating sugar and I was still eating carbs and all the processed food and all the bad foods. There's no telling what my CAC score was prior to the weight loss surgery.
Yeah, because that is one of the things people say with weight loss. You might see a reduction in the CAC, but isn't it ridiculous that you're having the surgery and they're not telling you about how to eat properly or identifying that the sugar is a culprit and letting you continue on that way that got you overweight in the first place and needing the surgery? But my heart goes out to you because obviously, I'm not going to say you were desperate, but when you get into surgery, that's a major decision. So you must have felt that you couldn't control it any other way at that point. So what was the turning point when you realized I can do something about this and it is changing my relationship with food?
Well, when I had the weight loss surgery, like I said, actually I gained 25 pounds to make my BMI high enough to have the weight loss surgery. Then I had the surgery, then I lost the weight, and I was still delving in sugar here and there. I was still delving in it here and there, dipping in it from time to time, and the fact that I had the weight loss surgery, I didn't put the weight back on as quickly because I wasn't able to eat the volume of sugar that I was eating. So at that point, I had an eye condition happen and I had to have a lot of steroids. Well, if anybody's ever had steroids, you know what steroids do. Makes you very hungry, makes you crave everything that you're not supposed to have. So that's when I gained more weight back. Well, then I was like, what am I going to do? This is crazy. I've had the weight loss surgery. I lost weight. Now I've gained weight back. What am I going to do? Here I am again. So like I said, I started looking on YouTube, started looking on, websites. At the time, I saw Dr. Ken Berry and I saw Kelly Hogan. So I started watching their YouTubes and I'm like, wow, she's in North Carolina. She eats meat for 12 years at the time, 14 now, but 12 at the time. And I'm like, what is this about? Well, I started watching it, listening to it. And I'm like, could I do this? Is this something that, I started just watching, just kind of watching, binge watching the videos. Is this something I can do? So then, like I said, from January until September, I kind of played with it back and forth and tried doing it. And, I'm like, wow, the more I watched, the more intrigued I was, the more motivated I was to get on board and stay on board and leave the sugar alone. And I joined several of the communities, as far as the coaching and the community classes. That seemed to help me. There were other people going through the same scenarios I was going through, the sugar addiction, the weight gain, the weight loss, back and forth, the yo-yo dieting. And basically that was kind of a turning point for me. There was communities where it's at. These other people are having major, great successes. And this is something I need to do because I was and still would be if I probably went back to sugar addicted. But that was kind of the turning point for me, was getting on board with carnivore.
Yeah, and they're two great people, by the way, Ken Berry and Kelly Hogan, really shining lights within the community. I mean, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about was just how sick and how bad you were at one point, because you were even on a PICC line, which is a PICC line, and it's called TPN, which is total parenteral nutrition. So you were actually on that, weren't you, at some point, having nutrition dripped into you?
So basically, I went into the hospital. I had the weight loss surgery. I was supposed to be there for 2 days. I ended up being in the hospital for 8 weeks. I had 2 leaks, which is very common. Well, it's not very common, but can happen. It is a side effect of weight loss surgery. So I was in PO for 21 weeks, which means nothing by mouth. I had a PICC line with TPN, total parental nutrition. So they were literally pumping 1,600 calories a day into my arm through IV for 8 weeks. That is how I got nutrition, and that is how I lived for 8 weeks. I did lose some weight, but it was a complete nightmare. I was on all kinds of antibiotics. Matter of fact, they had to go back in, redo the surgery 2 days later because of the leak. It was quite the nightmare. And, I'm in the hospital thinking, what was I thinking? Why did I do this? Why did I do this? Why didn't I try to find another way? And at the time, like I said, that was in 2013. I did not know about carnivore. Had I known about carnivore, I would have gone down that road instead. But, that's where I was. So yes, it was a very horrific time with the weight loss surgery.
Yeah, and I wanted to sort of dive in and out and get you forward and back to just sort of reflect, because I think some people think that the weight loss surgery is the easy way out, and it isn't if you don't cure the relationship with food. I mean, that's the thing I think that comes back time and time again. Yes, it's great to lose the weight, and the surgery can be successful, as in there's no complications. I know you had complications, but even if it goes great and you have no complications, in the end, you haven't fixed the issue, which is those addictions or the things that you eat, which maybe you've been misinformed. You think they're actually okay. So I feel that the education is really good. Now, you joined the Steak and Butter Gang as well, is where we met originally. So what do you feel about the community and what's happened to you since you've been carnivore, and how much weight have you lost? What do you feel about the sugar addiction as well?
So as far as, yes, I did join Steak and Butter Gang too. Like I said, I joined several communities. It was like I just couldn't get enough of the carnivore word. I wanted more, more, more. And as far as what do I think about it, community is amazing. You just think you're out here in the middle of the ocean flopping around all by yourself, and you end up finding out there are other people who are having the same problems that you are. And it's nice to get other people's views on things and to know that other people have been where you are. So for me, community was very helpful. It was very helpful. It helped me get through what I needed to get through, which was the sugar addiction. And like I said, people don't think they're addicted to sugar until you try to give it up. Just give it up for a week or two and see what happens. You're cranky, you're ill, you're aggravated. You don't realize without that drug there that you need it. You need that fix. And for me, like I said, once I got on board, so many things have changed. I've lost about 85 pounds. And the mental clarity is worth the weight in gold, literally. The mental clarity is amazing. Lots of other things have changed. No arthritis, no inflammation. I have energy all day. Sometimes I just have to find things to entertain myself because, I just have energy. I just don't sit well doing nothing. Well, I didn't really have a lot of health issues. I've never been diabetic. I've never really had high blood pressure, high cholesterol, anything like that. For me, I just felt better. And for me, it was nice to get off of the yo-yo dieting. I really dreaded certain times of the year, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, oh my gosh, here comes all the wonderful dessert, but also here comes the 10, 20, 30 pounds. January, here you are up from all the sugar, the carbs, the addiction, and now it takes you the whole year to lose that again, and then it's the holiday season again. So much of what we do revolves around food. Hey, let's meet for lunch. Hey, let's have a birthday party. Hey, let's have a baby shower. All those things revolve around desserts and, addicting foods. So for me, it was nice to get off of the yo-yo dieting, the roller coaster ride, and to have actual freedom and not be controlled by sugar cravings.
Yeah, that's the overarching theme that's coming through the interview. But there was some other things as well, like arthritis and joint pain, wasn't there?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
I think I was starting to get neuropathy in my foot, and at night my foot would hurt. It would have this tingling sensation. And now that I've been carnivore, completely gone. No longer an issue.
Well, that's really good to know. And I think one of the things that you mentioned before was skin tags as well. Have they all gone?
Yes, I did have skin tags. Had it around my neck. And one of my friends told me, she's like, oh, it's because you wear a necklace all the time and the necklace rubs and makes you have skin tags. No, that's not true. I stopped wearing necklaces for a while thinking, if this is how I get rid of the skin tags, but I wear a necklace every day now and skin tags are gone. And they were never gone before. Only since I've been carnivore have they been gone.
So that seems pretty categoric that this way of eating has got rid of skin tags. And I've heard that time and time again. And many people are dismissive of that. The other thing I would like to ask you about is your own coaching, because you've obviously got to the point now where you want to spread the word out. So just go into a little bit about what you're doing to help people in the community.
So when I started doing carnivore, everybody was like, oh my gosh, you have such a positive attitude and you've done so well with carnivore and you should coach other people and get the word out. I am a full-time business owner currently now of 31 years. So I started thinking, well, you know what? If I can just help one or two people, I can just help somebody else who's diabetic, who's high blood pressure, let them know there's another way, or who's sugar addicted the way I was. So I started a coaching group. My coaching group is allthingsaudra.com is my website. I do a class on Tuesday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Zoom. I do have a YouTube channel as well on dehydrating meat. I am really big on dehydrating meat. And that's also All Things Audra on YouTube, and as well as a TikTok channel, All Things Audra as well. But as far as the coaching goes, I do group coaching and I do private coaching. And, when people get on board like this, I didn't really, when I very first started it, I wasn't really sure where to go or what to do. Then I found the community. And for me, between Ken Berry, Kelly Hogan's group, the Steak and Butter Gang, that's where I found the help I needed. So to continue to promote community to people who are struggling with the addiction, I just think it's very important. So I started a coaching group, and it's going great. I have a lot of new people and a lot of people that have been carnivore for a while as well. And I've met some of the most amazing people through the carnivore journey, including you, Stephen. And it's just been amazing I feel like there's people in my life through the carnivore community that I feel like they've been in my life forever. Like, I can't even imagine not being in my life now. And I've just found such wonderful friendship, community, people willing to help. And that's what I want to give back to the community.
Yes, and I think that's one of the things I find really surprising about this community is everyone wants to share their knowledge and be involved, and they're all very positive. If you ever fancy having someone talking about a blood test, for instance, in your group, you want a guest, I'll come along because I'm a qualified phlebotomist and I'm quite happy to do that. And that's the thing. I feel there's no haters. Everyone is very supportive. I was watching a video this morning because even though we present and give content out, we still consume it. And the person was talking about the carnivore diet in a very derogatory way and said, I know I'm going to get loads of hate comments. And when I went to look at the comments, they were all carnivores saying that you've got this wrong about the carnivore diet. And they were all polite. And they pretty much all said, you just need to get your facts right if you want to come talk to me. And I don't think that's any other community. Even when I was doing keto and quite big in the keto world, I never found it as helpful and as an embracing community as carnivore. Yeah, there's a few people that want you to just do beef, salt and water, and they don't tolerate you having fish or eggs or whatever. But I think for the majority of people, cutting out the fruit, cutting out the veg, cutting out the starch, and understanding sugar addiction are like the real four kingpins that make people healthy. And things like your skin tags, which to other people might not seem much, if you've got them all your life and they suddenly go, that's like a miracle. It's like a magic wand. I mean, one of the things I really talk about is my athlete's foot. I was plagued with athlete's foot, but yeah, I had worse things. I had lower left quadrant pain. I thought I had colon cancer because my mum had it. And, I was eating this perfect diet with the food guidelines, high carb, skim milk and freshly squeezed orange juice and blueberries and all that. And there I was in my 40s getting all these scans and like the coronary artery calcium scan, and everything was telling me my health was really bad. Really bad. So I focus on those. But the little things like your skin tags or, my athlete's foot also goes. And it just shows the power of this way of eating. And I think when you're talking about the sugar addiction, I don't think people realize when they're addicted. So coffee is one that comes up. People really find it hard to give up coffee. And I put my hand up, full transparency. I had to get into decaf, and then I always start sneaking up to more cups per day. So you have to be honest with yourself and say, look, this stuff's got me hooked. And I think maybe abstaining from it is the thing to do, and just basically say I'm not having it, because you have to break that cycle. Would you just go into what you did to break that cycle? What practical things you could do?
Well, let me add this. You said that about keto, and I kind of forgot, but I did keto for a couple years, and I did pretty good on keto. But honestly and truly, I was so hooked on keto treats, the fat bombs. I could make them things with a blindfold on. Literally. I mean, I would make the chocolate peanut butter keto bombs and, it's keto. Just have another one, have another one, have another one. And, I did lose some weight on it and I did okay on it, but I never got rid of the cravings. I still had cravings. So for me, like I said, I did fall off the wagon a lot. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I fell off the wagon a lot And each time I try to go a little farther, push it out a little farther each time until finally I said, that's it. That's it. No more sugar, no more keto bombs, no more keto treats, nothing else of that nature. I've got to do this. I've got to get on board. You know, my skin has changed so much. And, you know, like I said, the skin tags may not seem like a big deal to some people, but it is when you have them. Same thing like you're saying with athlete's foot. You know, it's a big to do when you're dealing with it. But yeah, for me, I just finally had to say, look, you know, do I want to continue to eat all this crap food full of sugar, or do I want to have better health? And do I want to stop yo-yo dieting? And that's what I had to do. I've often said, even in the steak and butter game, when you have that addiction, it's like a loud pounding at the door. Somebody's just pounding on the door, and you literally have to go and get something to calm that addiction, whether it's sugar, chips, bread, pasta, whatever your drug of choice is. But now I don't have that pounding on the door anymore. Occasionally I'll have a little tap at the door, but I can honestly say, oh, that's over there. I'm not listening to that tap, and I can move on from it. And honestly, I don't even delve in it at all. I don't have a bite of this or a bite of that when it comes to sugar. And honestly, I don't miss fruits and vegetables at all. I was not a big vegetable person anyway. On keto and other diets, I'd made myself learn to like vegetables, and I'm glad I don't have to eat them now. I don't miss them.
No,
but yeah, for me, I just had to say, hey, it's time. It's time to buckle down, get serious, and be done with the sugar cravings, the yo-yo dieting, and the roller coaster ride of going back every time I would lose the weight. I would go back to sugar addiction.
That's a fabulous answer. Thanks for that. And I think that's exactly how I feel. Keto keeps one foot in that sugary camp, and like you say, the keto treats or the sweeteners, really big problems. So I'm going to wrap up with questions that I always get in the comments. If I don't ask, they will ask me. You didn't ask this question. So here we go. It's an easy one. Do you do OMAD, 2MAD, 3 meals a day, or do you eat intuitive?
Wow, that's a hard question for me to answer because people who know me and follow me know that I enjoy intermittent fasting. So there are times where I will intermittent fast for 24, 48. Sometimes I'll do a 72. Sometimes I get real froggy about it, and I'll do from Sunday till Friday, here and there once in a while. I'm of the opinion that you should do you. Whatever suits you the best is what you should do. Everybody's got an opinion. Like I said, I do intermittent fasting from time to time. Sometimes I do 2MAD. Sometimes I do OMAD. Sometimes I do 3 meals a day. And then sometimes I eat intuitively. If I'm not hungry, I just don't eat. So I try to change it up. I do not like tracking. I'll be honest about that. That is the one thing I do not miss from all the other eating plans, diets, Weight Watchers, all the other stuff I used to do. I hated the tracking. And for me, I like the fact I don't have to track carnivore. Now, does someone else have to track carnivore? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a volume eater. So like I said, I do try to do intuitive eating. And if I'm not hungry, then I fast. I feel like my body will tell me what I need, and it'll also tell me when I don't need anything. So, that's kind of not a direct answer, but the best one I have.
No, that's the answer I want, because I think most people are going down the route of being a bit more intuitive and less prescriptive. Mixing it up, I think, is a great thing. 72-hour fast for some people really do give them a kickstart. And anyone out there that's never tried this way of eating and is thinking 72 hours is tough, there's no way you could do that. That's partly down to the things that you're addicted to. I've got to be honest. I would have thought the same in my 40s. If someone had said, you can go 3 days without eating and actually find it quite easy, I would not have believed them. Obviously, the little disclaimer there, if you're underweight, that's not not a good thing to do. All right. You need to be a healthy weight. And if you've got a surplus of body fat, then it's going to be a lot easier. And I wouldn't start with a 72-hour fast. I'd work my way into fasting. Audra, that was fantastic. It's like having a hurricane coming into the studio with such positivity. It's really, really good. So thank you for that. I really appreciate your time. All of Audra's links will be in the description. You didn't have to write it all down because there'll be clickable links if you're interested in joining a group. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Stephen. And it's always good to hear from you. Always good to hang out with you for a little bit and catch up and know what's going on over there where you are.
Thank you. That's very nice of you.
Thank you for having me on the channel.
Cool. All right. I will stop it there. That's great.